Well, in this exposition, I'm going to talk about robots, a little brief of them, things like cons and pros, what the society thinks about the robots, what are the most popular activities that robots do, and also some statistics things to show how the robots are like conquering the world. And in the future, maybe the robots can replace the human jobs. It could be difficult for the humans, but I'm going to show that things in that exposition. Well, to start this exposition, it's important to know what is a robot, what is the meaning of the word robot. Well, I was looking on internet and I found a lot of information of that, but for me, the most important thing about the robot information is a robot is a machine that was built for a human. They can do different activities that a human program it. Nowadays, the robots are very intelligent, and also most of we know what is a robot, what activities they can do, and some robots have like a RAM, have cameras, and have different things that it can be like human, but they don't have the same intelligence that a human. Well, it's important to know the characteristic of the robots. The robots are machines. They are very sensitive to the environment. They can change their configuration for the environment that they need, and also you can program the robot to do different activities. They are very like human friendly. Depends of the kind of job that you want to they do. Well, it's important to talk about the first robot. Well, the first robot was built in 1954. That robot was working on a digital company. The robot replaced some jobs because, as you can see and you can know, the robots you don't have to pay like a salary. You don't have to pay the extra hours. You don't have to pay anything, but you have to pay for maybe actualization of the software or things like that. They are more like intangible things. Well, and you don't have to pay like as insurance or things like that. So here we can see that the robots in the future can replace a human, but it's worse because we are humans and we are not going to find job in the future. But that thing we are going to talk about in some minutes more. Well, at this point of the exposition, it's important to know why the robots are important. Well, nowadays we can see a clear example. Nowadays we can see on the streets some interviews doing by reporters. They interview people that was walking in the street too. It could be dangerous because, as you can know, nowadays we are having a virus in all the world. It could be very dangerous for the people that work on the news because they go home and they can make ill of their family, and it could be very dangerous. In case that we use robots here, we are going to avoid that kind of dangerous, and it could be more safe to work with robots in these cases, right? Another important thing could be, for example, when we have an earthquake or things like that, that you can see that all the things are destroyed. If you go with a person here, it could be dangerous. They can break something. But if you go with a robot, you're going to avoid a lot of things, and you are not going to like lose a human life. Well, now it's important to know what are the most popular activities that robots do. Well, as I told you, the robots can do a lot of things. It depends on the human, the configuration that the human do with the robot. They can work in a lot of environment and things like that. But nowadays, the most ways that the person use or company use the robots are for exactly things. Like for example, in a car company, you have to be very exactly with the things, and the robots can do that, and a human can because the human can have mistakes, and the robots avoid that. Oh well, they have less percentage to do some mistakes. So that's the reason why the most companies prefer robots to human because they avoid a lot of mistakes. Well, now it's important to talk about what the society, what we think about the robots. Well, I was looking on internet and I found different opinions. Some are positive, some are negative. They are like divided. Well, for positive things, a lot of people say that robots are very useful because, as I told you, they can avoid risk, they can avoid lose human life, they can make exactly things to avoid mistakes, as I told you too. And about the cons, well, a lot of people are very worried about that because they think in some years, maybe 5 or 10 years in the future, the robots can replace them in their job. It's really, it is very like a delicate issue because it can happen, and in case that it happens, a lot of people are going to lose their jobs, and it could be like an economy increase. So that is the most important thing. What the people thinks about the robot, talking in the negative way, but talking in the positive way, they can avoid risk. So they are like divided. While talking about statistics and numbers, it's important to know which country use more robots in and in what sectors they do. Well, the first country that have more potential of robots is China, followed by United States, South Korea, Germany, and Japan. They are the most popular countries that use robots in different sectors. But the sector that is very more popular to use a robot, they are automotive sector. Why? Well, because as you can know, all the brands of cars, they sell the car to another person in case that car have a problem and the person crash or something like that. The company are going to have a very problem. It's going to be in problems. So what avoid the robots? As I told you, the robots avoid mistakes, avoid all of kind of that things. So they are more exactly about the things that they do. That's the reason why the robots are more useful in automotive or in general in the industrial sector. Now, a very important question is: the robots can replace the human job? Well, the answer is yes. Actually, there are 20 millions of words that have been replaced by robots. Why? Well, as I told you in all the exposition, they have like better things to wear. They are more exactly or things like that. It could be a problem in the future, but about my opinion, because we are going to lose our job. We are humans, and a lot of companies are going to prefer the robots. Why? Could be like you don't have to pay a salary. You only pay for actually actualizations or things like maybe repairs and things like that. You don't have to pay extra hours. You can like make it work all day, and they are not going to think to say anything. So it is advantage. The human have like laws that you have to respect humans. So the companies are going to lose money if they want more human works. But if the company decides to invest in robots, the robots are going to work all the week and all the hours of the day. So it could be like a problem for the human in the future to find a job. Well, I'm going to show here the advantage and the disadvantage, the pros and the cons of the use of robots in the future now actually. Well, as you can see, if you see in the point of view of human, it could be like more disadvantage than advantage. But if you look the robots in the point of view of the companies of the managers, they have more advantage than disadvantage. Well, it's like a divide word. Right? The word is divide to pro and cons. I can say you like exactly if they have more positive things or more negative things. It depends of each one. For my opinion, I think that the robots have more advantage because they have more possibilities to be exactly in things. But if you ask me if you are worried about the future to find a job, the answer is yes. I'm going to be very like worried for the things that are happening now. Well, to answer the question, how is going to be the robots in the future? Well, it's a very simple question because as you can see now, you can find the artificial intelligence in your pocket, like your cell phone. They are not like exactly robots, but they have artificial intelligence. They can replace different things. You can do a lot of activities on your cell phone. You don't have to move to your house. They are like technology are increasing very fast. As you can see, you have different iPhone, different Galaxy, different things. They are not exactly robots, as I told you, but they are artificial intelligence. This is a clear example of how the technology is increasing very fast. So the robots in the future are going to be like human. Nowadays we can see robots with eyes, with hair, with fingers. They have movements like human. Well, I think the robots in the future, in maybe 50 years or 20 years, I don't know exactly how many years it can take, but the robots are going to be very similar to the humans, and it could be like you can like have a comparison between robots and humans. They are going to be like little difference, but they're going to be like the same essential things. Thanks, teacher.